Welcome everyone to another exciting episode of the Team Lead Talks podcast. I'm your host out of Alexandria, Virginia, Andrew Becker. On today's show out of Philadelphia, we have Charles Rossano. Charles is the co-founder of Cohaven Capital, building predictable passive income through co-living real estate, turning America's housing crisis into opportunity. Welcome, Charles. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Andrew, really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, man. I was joking earlier before we started shooting. My dad's. I know you're up in the Philadelphia area. My dad was there. I'm a big fan of Primo subs, and you forgot to send me my Primo sub last time we did our connection call. So hopefully we'll build some more rapport here, and then I can get that sub finally in the mail, so I don't have to drive up there.
No, I'll absolutely get it out to you. As long as I don't need it first, I'll get it out to you.
All right. Sounds good, Charles. So Charles, for those who don't know who you are yet, give us a high-level overview of, who Charles is, what you do.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So basically what we do is I am a co-founder of Cohaven Capital, as you mentioned. We run a real estate fund. I'm based out of South Jersey, just outside of Philadelphia. We look to target the private workforce, the affordable housing challenge, as it pertains to both the private workforce, but also for supportive housing for nonprofits and mission-driven organizations. We're looking to help tackle a tremendously huge problem that's going throughout this country. Unfortunately, it's not going away anytime soon, but we're trying to put our own little dent in it, as you will.
Very cool. So Cohaven Capital, the definition is passive income through co-living real estate. Co-living can mean different things to different people. What does that mean to you and Cohaven Capital?
So what we do is we provide a solution that's under a model called shared housing, if you will. So most people might recognize it as rent by the room. So what we'll do is we'll look to identify in certain markets 3-4 bedroom, single family homes, small multifamily. We'll update them, convert them over to 6, 8, 10 bedroom homes, rent them out by the room. But all the while, Andrew, really building out more of a community type feel, more of a culture within that home. So we really look for long-term residents within those environments. And all the while, like I said, look to provide opportunities where they otherwise might not be able to afford other than living on a friend's couch, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's what we focus on the private side.
Very cool. Charles, before we jump into the mechanics of what you just described, where did this come from? Can you kind of give us the background and the story where Cohaven, you're a co-founder, obviously that means you have another partner in this as well, but give us the history here.
Yeah, so I've been focused on real estate now for 10 years. And so when we started our investments and our fund about, let's call it 10 years ago, really focused on the normal type of real estate investments. About 2.5 years ago, really tried to put forth a focus on what can we do other than financial returns?
Yeah.
What else is out there? Really looking to make a social impact. And really what I found, Andrew, after doing some research was not only does it have to be independent from financial returns to social impact, but when you bring them together, the synergies that combine that really enhances both of them. So I started doing research, what type of strategies, what type of thesis, and I came across this thing called co-living. And I was like, what the heck is this? Right? I'd never heard of it before. And then I started doing more research and thinking, wait a minute, we kind of did something like this in college where, a whole bunch of us got into a house and lived in the same house together and all that. And so really started researching it and saw that it's very prevalent in Europe and other countries, and thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to really penetrate into our country, into our markets as well, and dove right in. And I will tell you, the response and the feedback that we've gotten, not just on the investor side, but more so from the residents' perspective, just the conversations, the communications, the stories that we get, it's just unbelievable.
Very awesome. I love that you have kind of a twofold operation here. Number one, it sounds like you have investors or you allow investors to be a part of this. But number two, on the rubber meets the road part of it, you're helping house people who otherwise, like you said, would be on a couch or worse, homeless or something. Very awesome initiative and mission and vision that you have here. Let me ask you this. Are you only doing this in the Philadelphia area or is this nationwide? Talk to us about the geographic, reach here.
Yes. So I'm personally based in the Philadelphia region. We don't have any investments here.
Okay.
So this is all remote. So we're in North right now we're in North Carolina, Texas, and Arizona. We're looking to go deeper in the mid-Atlantic and Southeast regions. And we're being driven there not only by friendly regulatory components, need, economics, etc., but we're also formulating what I would call on the public side, working with those nonprofits and mission driven organizations. Those are some of the strategic partnerships that we're
Yeah.
formulating. And that's helping drive us into those markets as well, which is a tremendous impact.
Very cool. So walk me through the business model here, if you will, for Cohaven Capital. You mentioned investors before. Is there an opportunity for me or anyone listening that wants to be an investor in Cohaven? Are you actively acquiring and meeting and partnering up with new investors?
We are. Good question, Andrew. So basically, we work with accredited investors. So it's a 506c fund. And so what that means is there's certain criteria that you have to meet to be able to do that as an investor. And absolutely. So we bring on investors all the time, but it's very much a relationship driven dynamic. And
Right.
it's got to be right for both parties, right? Because for our investments, when we partner with investors, we look for a minimum of 5 years for those investments. And so we've got to be comfortable with both of us. It's not as if I'm calling you on day one, Andrew, and hey, look, how much are you looking to invest? We
Yeah.
build those relationships. It's the equity that's involved in that. And then we have to make sure it's the right fit for both of us. But yes, we're absolutely looking to bring on additional partners because the need at this point, fortunately and unfortunately, is almost indefinite.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a there's just so much out there that we're just trying to do our part.
Yeah, that's most definitely probably never going away. So, very good niche or specialty to get into. Charles, just real quick, not to spend too much time on the investor side, but is this like a put your collective capital into a fund, or is this house by house, case by case, or a hybrid of, what makes sense here?
Yeah, so we've evolved from that. So that's a great question. Before we were doing house by house.
Okay.
And so people initially wanted to say, hey, look, I own 123 Banana Street, and that's my house. And so at this point, though, because of the scaling model that we have,
Hmm.
it is a fund. We do a certain rate, a certain amount where we say, hey, look, each raise is probably somewhere between 5 to 10 properties. So it still provides some diversification, but it's not too large
Yeah.
where it's just kind of like, well, I'm just part of a REIT. But yeah, so the investor comes in as part of 5 to 10 homes, and we do some diversification around that. But we also provide very clear reporting, pictures, stories from the what we call members or the residents of those homes. So they get a real good feel of the properties that they're a part of.
That's awesome. I love that. So it's almost like a mini fund, and then you close out, you open it, you close it. Then I'm sure people just kind of like daisy chain them together, or stay on, and then you get newbies. But
That's right.
very,
We go through some quick sprints.
yeah, very exciting model. So you identified three different states of where you are for economic reasons and demand, I suppose, Charles. But how do you go about finding these properties? What's your criteria? What are you looking for? And how are you getting these opportunities in front of you?
Yeah, so we have a tremendous operating system by the name of Maximus. So we leverage AI very heavily.
Nice.
And so we've built in all this criteria and we leverage it heavily. But at the end of the day, Andrew, what we look for is it's so critical, even within certain metros or cities, that you zero in even on the zip code, not just the town, but parts of the town
Yeah.
because each area, each segment has different regulations, different type of zoning, things along those lines that either allow or don't allow this type of model to occur.
Right.
So we really do a deep dive in terms of the type of, like I said, the economic growth, industry diversification, regulatory components, but even non-HOA, as simple as we
Yeah.
look at certain square footage for the type of home that we want to produce because we want to make sure there's enough space for common areas and all of that.
Okay.
We look for properties that, I'll give you an example. One in Charlotte that we have, some of our tenants, we actually had a wait list and we identified what was important for them. And so we made sure that we had a large backyard for that particular home. They love to garden.
Mm.
So we built in a garden in the back. And so they all garden together. And then we had another one where the residents love to cook together on Friday nights. So we made sure that we had a property that had, a large open kitchen, and we actually send food and ingredients every other Friday for them to do cooking in the home.
Oh,
So
wow.
we can get even specific down to the granularity of the property, Andrew. But a lot goes into it
Yeah.
because we're looking to make sure that we're there for a long time and our residents are there for a long time enjoying it as well.
That makes sense. I would imagine, Charles, that it took you a long time to get to that level of like a science around it. So part of being on this podcast, the Team Lead Talks podcast, Charles, is sharing kind of lessons learned or things that, like, if someone out there is listening right now that also is interested in this, can you share kind of like early on a mistake or two that you made that you wish you knew that you knew now before, getting into this line of property management?
I'll do one better. I'll give you two examples.
Yeah. Okay.
So, because to me, it's just so important. One is that if you're looking to do remote acquisition of properties, it is so important that you have someone that you know and trust who actually has boots on the ground over there when working with general contractors, if you will. So the
Right.
second property we acquired for this type of model, full transparency, we opened up in a metro area that I trusted the general contractor. I didn't have boots on the ground. Quite frankly, we ended up losing about 50,000 on that because the work wasn't being done. I trusted, etc. And shame
Just
on me.
mismanagement.
Mismanaged, exactly. And so that was a costly mistake, but one I'm never making again.
That is good, Charles, that had happened on the second property. So you got that.
Absolutely. And thankfully on my own capital and not on any investor's capital. So
That's
our first
also
couple
very, yeah.
properties we did on our own capital.
Right.
The second aspect, Andrew, I would say is build your systems and processes early and often.
Yes.
So what we did was we built our own property management company specific for these type of properties. And so what we found in our strategy and our thesis, those operators who go out and do it, once they hit 3, 4, 5 properties is almost like a glass ceiling where
Okay.
everything starts to fall apart after that.
Yeah.
Because people just look to buy the homes by themselves without the right process and systems. So we built that early. Now it's just a repeatable funnel. We do the same thing every time, each property, and that's what allowed us to scale. We have over 260 units now at this point, and we do the same checklist and the same process all the way
I
through
love
every time.
that. I shared this on the connection call, but we got into subs at Primo's, so you probably forgot this part. But I am an OCD by nature human, and I love doing the same predictable, repeatable, boring thing over and over. That is honestly, Charles, you hit the nail on the head, how you scale. We talk to a lot of people and they're like struggling to scale. I'm like, well, how do you order photos the same time, the same way every time? Oh, I don't know. And I'm like, start there. So we call them playbooks, like SOPs, standard operating procedures. But my number one thing in the companies that I run is when we're doing anything, the first question we ever ask is there a playbook for this? And if there's not, we create it to do what you just said, because that's ultimately how you can almost franchise your model and plug it and play. If the economics work and the geographic location works, you're just doing the same thing over and over and over again, which is really cool.
Andrew, it's such a good point, and great for you for doing it that way. We ask ourselves the same question, which is, are we doing this more than once?
Yes.
If the answer is yes to anything that we do that's more than once, we document, we formulate it as an SOP, and we move forward.
Love it. Love it. Well, Charles, I know we're coming on time here. I always ask this kind of at the end of each episode here, but you've already shared so much, especially those two lessons. I think those can save you hundreds of thousands of dollars in both stress for the GC part and then for the latter part around like systematizing. But is there any other like resource checklist, maybe a book? I'd prefer a book because I'm trying to fill this top shelf up here that you can share that someone can go out and use that would better their life, their community, or their business?
Yeah, I mean, look, I am just such a fan of a few thought leaders that are out there as well. If you're looking specifically for co-living, etc., we have an ebook that I formulated. If you're interested, you can get in touch with me. But I'm going to tell you in terms of scaling business and thought leadership, and if it's cliche, I'm sorry, but I still follow it very much so. There are a couple people that I really subscribe to. Dan Martell,
Right
which
back
is
your time. I love that.
love
Sorry
it.
to interrupt you, but I was in his coaching program a while
Okay.
back. I met him. He's awesome. I love his book. He has another book, Software as a Science, that is amazing too. But
Yeah.
that is the most given out book on my end. Anyone I meet, I send that book to them. So sorry, go ahead.
No, that's great. No, it's great. I mean, a huge fan of Dan Martell. And then the other is Alex Hermosi. Just such a fan of how he views business and systems and oversimplifies
Yeah.
to be able to navigate. So I would recommend those just from a general business perspective. But like I said, if you're interested in our type of strategy specifically, I have an ebook. You can reach out. Quite frankly, we're an open kimono. There's no, we have our own little secret sauce here and there, but I like to always promote and give my insights because again, if we all do well, then we all do well, and
Yeah.
and we're tackling a major problem. So I look forward to helping others with it.
Yeah, man, I love what you just said. I'm in a mastermind, and I forget her name, but she said, "Those at the bottom compete, those at the top collaborate." And that is exactly what you just spit out right there. So, Charles, thank you so much for being on the show. One last thing, if anyone wants a copy of that ebook or to reach out to you to chat with you about Cohaven Capital or to just learn more about co living, how can somebody reach you? How can they find you?
So they can find me very easily on LinkedIn under, Charles Rossano, but they can also email me directly, charles@cohavencapital.com, and I'm happy to provide whatever support I can.
Awesome. We will also include your contact information in the description of this episode. So if you're watching this on YouTube, please look down and reach out to Charles. Charles, thank you so much, man. I'm still expecting that Primo sub. I wasn't really kidding about that. So it's weird. You never asked me for my address, so I still don't know how you plan on getting it. But maybe we'll do that after the after the episode's done.
Andrew, I'll drive it down for you. You're not too far
Cool.
from
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I'll take
All
it.
right. That's a verbal binding contract, by the way, that we
There you
have
go.
recorded. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you and your time.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Have a
All
great
right.
day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Bye bye.